Good evening. My name is Tumi Tladi, and today is Thursday, the 8th of July 2021. Time is 23 minutes before 6 p.m. And yeah, let's get down to business. So I'm going to switch to Visual Studio. I'm currently on Master Branch, and then if I go to Get Changes tab, you see that I successfully pushed Master to Azure DevOps. And then if I look at the output, it will show, if I switch to source control, that I also pushed to GitHub so successfully. And the reason why I'm showing this, it's because, like I said, the content on this YouTube channel, it's not just meant for third parties, it's also meant for me, someone who's passionately building the system and have continued to be passionate. So I identify stuff and then I fix those stuff. Ultimately, those are the bugs, So if we go back to GitHub, look at Azure DevOps, you can see updated 12 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago, yes, I pushed additional 5 commits. It was interesting. And then also 30 minutes ago. So today I'm going to use Azure DevOps to show those commits. So let's go to commit. There we go. So today, from the 8th, obviously, start 5:12 p.m. So what I've been doing, I've been utilizing this SMS API project that when I started yesterday, to send SMS from multiple controllers: account controller, users controller, document, subscription, business, and then so forth. And then tomorrow I'm gonna wrap up with this whole utilization of SMS API for Web API project also. And all of this is targeting MVC project for .NET framework. Okay, so these are the changes. All right, I'm also busy. I'm still busy with my new system, C versus C. I'm still pushing stuff to it. As you can see, I'm still pushing, an hour ago. I'm still busy with it. Okay, so what are we doing today? Before I talk about what we're going to be doing today, the change here I cannot show. It's for web.config file. It's because every time I need to run this project locally, I need to disable something on the web config file, but it works perfectly on the server that's in production. It has to do with the mod security. I did extensive research about it. So locally, I need to disable it for me to be able to do my work. Okay, cool. Now, what are we doing today? We're going to be doing another service provider, the one that's been utilized. It's a very powerful service, it's called Swagger. Okay, while this load, I'm gonna tell you something for sure. There are kids running around recklessly and then unknowingly, and I hate to tell someone's kid to keep quiet, to go back home. I mean, it's late right now. They're running around. It's a mess outside. Other than that, Visual Studio might hang because today I had to restart twice. Visual Studio, I don't know why. However, I'm gonna blame the most recent update, that the one that's causing Visual Studio to hang. I don't know why, but I'm learning to be patient with it. With that being said, please like the video if you find it helpful, if you find it interesting. Leave a comment if you have any. Tell your friends about this YouTube content and the goodness of this content on this YouTube, and then subscribe, because daily I upload videos and I make videos. Okay, cool. Let's talk about Swagger. So here's Swagger. Swagger is an interface description language. for describing RESTful APIs expressed using JSON. Swagger is used together with a set of open source software tools to design, build, document, and use RESTful web services. Swagger includes automated documentation, code generation, and test case generation. So this is from Wikipedia. The company is Smart Bear Software. It's incredible. Okay, I'm not gonna but let's just get inside it. Now, why are we talking about Swagger? Let me just launch one of these web applications, because I'm still gonna get to Xamarin, the mobile application, this app. But the reason why I'm talking about this, for you to be able to build a system like I have built mine, there are many frameworks targeting specific platforms that you're gonna have to use for the system that you're building. One of them is Web API. So the mobile application in this case, it's using Web API. So for me to be able to ensure that this part of the functionality where I search a specific store, me typing IGHQ, which is it's going to show me this data, it came directly from database through Web API. So now before, okay, let me go to Visual Studio. So this is what would happen. You first start with the database, you make sure it's good, and then you should almost all the case use the portal to manage the database, whatever that's in the database. When that is good, you then need now the Web API. There's a Web API and there's a Web API to make sure that it's good before you can bring this guy. Before it can target Android, even iOS. Make sure that this guy is good to go. Now this is where now Swagger comes in. So now API development for everyone. Okay, it simplifies API development for users, teams, enterprises with the Swagger open source and professional toolset. Find out how Swagger can help you design and document your APIs at scale. Now, another thing about me, I'm not gonna do this walk through on these services extensively because none of these service providers pay me to do this. I'm not here to market their products. I'm not here to sell the products. I'm here to say I'm utilizing their product, and therefore you should check it out yourself. Please read the documentation, read a lot of how this works, everything. It's a huge thing. It's also powered by Microsoft. We'll talk about this. It's incredible. So check it out for yourself. Now, how did I utilize this? Yes, we're gonna need the browser. So let me first fire this project. Like I said, I had to disable something on the web.config file to ensure that I can run this guy locally. Now, speaking of this, let's go to both web applications, the ones that are being deployed already. So like I said, this project is strictly .NET framework. It's both a MVC and Web API, okay? Now, if I go and say Swagger, in production, there's not gonna be access to Swagger. Keep this in mind. Now, this one is strictly .NET Core. It's a Web API for .NET Core. Wait, no, this is MVC, sorry. This is api.identical.docs.co.za. Okay, sorry about that. This is MVC, we don't need it. This one is the Web API for .NET Core. Now, also, if I attempt to do Swagger, still I'm being redirected back to this page. So what do you notice here? I don't have access to Swagger on the web applications that have been deployed. It's a good thing. Okay, I'll tell you why. It's for security. Okay, it still is building. So let's start with the .NET framework. Now, how do you set it up? Oh, first, before I do that, I like to show the NuGet packages from the solution level. So let's go to solution. Like I said, Visual Studio might hang. It's a problematic thing at the moment. I don't know why. It will keep on saying not responding, and I need to respond. Can I access the NuGet packages? I don't want to restore, I want to access them. Unfortunately, I cannot access them because still it's building. It's okay. Now, let me start with the .NET framework. So how do you set it up? Let's go to app start. I have a class called Swagger config, and now a big shout out to a gentleman named Tim Corey. A big shout out to this guy. He's brilliant. Please check him out on YouTube. Tim Corey. He's brilliant. I learned to integrate Swagger officially in my projects because I saw him doing it nicely before I learned how to do it in .NET Core. Firstly, he did it in .NET Framework. So he said he should have a class called swagger.conf, a Swagger config file. So now, before we go back to that file, let's do right click and then manage to get packages for the solution. So you can see the different packages for the entire solution. Let's give it a second. It should now pop up because I don't want to do anything. There we go. So let me go and search Swagger, and while it loads, it seems like our web application is on its way. Okay, so Tim Corey, but I did hear about Swagger. You know, when you watch a lot of YouTube videos, or you perhaps read some of the articles on the web, you know, about certain piece of code that you need, you know, it will simplify 1, 2, 3, and then you end up not doing it. But when you see someone doing it with passion, and that's when I knew, like, yeah, no, that guy is good. Okay, so they're gonna do this, and I don't want this. So let's go to the installed NuGet packages. Let it search for what's installed globally. Okay, while it's doing that, do we have something? Okay, so I've been using Swagger in multiple projects, multiple systems, you know, so I'm also going to use it on my new system, C versus C. Hence, I'm doing this video right now to say, before you go further to mobile application, please make sure that your web API, it's good, it's robust. And one way to ensure that it's robust, you need this tool called Swagger. Okay, my internet, it's fast. Okay, this one is not affected by the internet. But why is this guy slowish? Okay, so this is a local version of my application. Now, the first thing that we need to do is Swagger. So this is locally. It's not gonna show, it's not gonna run because I disabled, there we go again. I disabled this guy. Yeah, this is strange. Let it load the entire list, and it's gonna take a while. So this is why there's a class, it's here. This line of code is responsible for not hiding, but also not or should I say, for stopping Swagger from being utilized, this line of code. So this is when Tim Corey explained the sole purpose of this. So if I need to do some work, I just remove the comments. That's it. And then what you will do, assembly, this is how you register it, a pre-application start method, type of Swagger config, then this is how we register it. You do not do anything. Do not remove these two unused using statements. They're being utilized by this line of code. This is why I cannot see it, but we need to utilize it. So let me remove that. let me build. Okay, cool. And it's building. Okay, so let's see what we can learn. So it's a class, it doesn't inherit from anything. It has only one method called register. There we go. And then var this assembly, getting assembly. Some of these things, to be honest, I do not understand them, but I understand the entire functionality of this class. So it's as if here we are utilizing this somewhere, this assembly, Okay, global configuration, it's part of system.web.http, provides a global HTTP configuration for ASP.NET applications. So it's gonna say the config, and then this will be enable Swagger. So this is how you enable it. So I'm just gonna go through the certain things that are being enabled, our services. Okay, this guy says build succeeded. Let's refresh and then we'll come back to it. And let's check something from here. There we go. So let's look for Swagger. Okay, let me search. Why does it say no packages found? It may be that it's not found. Interesting. Okay. So now single API version. So it takes in the version and the title. So identical docs web API UI. And then we do this. If you want the output Swagger docs to be indented properly, enable pretty print. So we enable that. So these comments are very helpful. If you want to do multiple API versions, I'm still going to explore this. I'm still going to learn this, by the way, because my system is making use of multiple versions. So if we go for contracts web API, you see there's a version 1, version 2. So yeah, I'm still going to learn this guy. Okay, what else do we have? Now, if you annotate controllers and APIs types with XML comments, you can incorporate those comments into the generated docs and UI. You can enable this by providing the path to one or more XML comment files. So include XML comments, yes. And then this is the format that we have to say go to the bin. You find this file, .xml. Okay. And then what else? Now, in accordance with the built-in JSON deserializer, I'm just going to say describe all enums as a string. You can read the comment there. And then this is where we enable Swagger UI. So you enable Swagger and then you enable Swagger UI. This guy that's currently loaded. Okay, so use the document title option to change the document title. So this guy, it'll show up on the UI. I believe somewhere here. Yes, because this is the UI. Okay. And then what else do we have? That's it. This is everything about it. Literally. Okay. So here's the thing about Swagger. If I show you the UI, this entire UI. Okay. Now, if you look at these guys, access pins _v1, everything is _v1 except for notifications. So there's notification v1 and v2. There is uploads v1, v2. All of these things. This is where now the portion of web API comes in. Okay, let me just quickly look for that. Because it's very important. I don't know why this one. Now, there we go. Swashbuckle. Where is it? This guy. this is the guy. Oh, it's called Swashbuckle, not Swagger. It's called Swashbuckle. So you see it's installed on this current project. It's called Swashbuckle. Okay, and then this one, Swashbuckle for ASP.NET Core, as you can see, it's meant for the Web API project for .NET Core. There we go. So now you know. Cool. So now I was saying the controllers, because I also have the support for Web API. Everything in here, all these controllers are the ones that are making up this the document to show that there is access pins controller, and we'll come to it. But how does it know? How does Swagger know? If we go to general, this access pin v1 controller, do you see that it takes the name? By the way, it omits the controller. Okay, the most important thing is this, the inheritance. It inherits from API controller. Only then Swagger will know that, okay, it's meant to be part of us, Swagger family. So we're gonna document this controller, Okay, so I'm only gonna do this guy because I need to cover the .NET Core version. So basically, leave this, it's unnecessary. What's necessary is this attribute, HTTP post. That's the most critical thing that you see here. It's post. Okay, and then you can see the route, because then I have my own route. I believe we haven't covered the route, but this is the route. It takes in the base. We'll look at the base at the moment. Well, the base, the base. And then it looks at the version number, and then this is post 1 access pin for mobile. So there we go. So this is the route. Okay, v1, this is the base, v1, and then this is the actual route. So it knows exactly for post. Okay, and then what else are the comments. You need to do it this way in order for it to work. So we are saying this support, this is going to be, the summary is going to be post credentials in order to authenticate access to the mobile app. And then where do we see that? There we go, post credentials in order to authenticate access to the mobile app. Okay, and then if we get inside, then we can see more. So now it expects something that's required, which is a post 1 access pin request version 1, of which this is the guy. It knows that I'm expecting this guy. I'm expecting it. So it will use its local variable name. And then it will show what is expected, like the model for this guy. So this guy, if you look at the class, let me just do this, because I like to do things in detail. That's why the content on this YouTube channel is raw, because then I get to show you stuff. This class is a request. I'm still gonna come to Web API, talk about the request and the responses. But what's coming next, please stay tuned for the next video. Is gonna be another service called Fluent Validation, where you will get to understand this guy, and how Swagger can help us to test our Fluent validations before you get to mobile application. Okay, so it only has 2 properties called business number and access pin. There we go, business number and access pin. So it says that this is required. Now the way Swagger operates, you don't have to type in this JSON the way it is. You can just click here, it will populate it, and then you can continue to say, okay, business number is business number, access pin is access pin. Now you understand, right? Cool. And then the content type is JSON. It knows automatically it's JSON by default, but you have option for text, application for XML, text for XML, and then URL encoded. Okay, and then also there's another video I'm gonna do called service provider for Postman. This guy, I'm gonna do another video after Fluent Validation for Postman. So Swagger is a lightweight version for Postman. Postman is a big one, and then we'll talk about why you need both of them. Okay, Cool. So now we understand the parameters. Now the response messages. Okay, so these guys, how does it know HTTP status code 200 400 44? It's because I went ahead to say the response code is 200 400 and 44, and then they have their own descriptive response messages. So what you see here is what will be documented for this specific endpoint or API. Okay, so these are the reasons. Okay, you can also have a response model if you want to, and it will show the headers if you want to. So it's very interesting. So now if you want to try this guy out, you can hit try out, but it's not gonna work. This is when a Fluent Validation comes in. If I hit try out, it's actually sending it. You will see with this guy, and then you get to see the response. So where it says now this is for Fluent Validation, so it's not gonna work. It will show the requested URL. So because I'm doing this in locally, but I can also do this thing. No, I cannot do this in production. No, I can do this in production. This is why we use this class, and then this is why I had to comment this guy, back to be online. But if I comment this guy out, I cannot test, like we saw, I cannot test the deployed version of this web API. So, but this shows me that I'm locally, but I can still do this in production. Okay, where it will substitute the local host with the port with the actual domain. Okay, and it will still show me this. So currently says the response code is 400, and then it shows the response headers. Sometimes we don't need this guy. You can read, to see certain things that might be helpful, like the server, and then yeah, cool. That's it. It's interesting. So that's the response. You can hide it because I'm expecting either 200, 400, 400 or 44. So right now it hit 400 to say notifies that information is required in order to process the request, and then notifies that no active access pin was found on the system. We can do this. We'll do this thing later on when I test the actual from the mobile application. So in a nutshell, this is this guy for access pin. It's very simple, basic. You don't need to know what's happening inside the body. You just need to know that this is the method signature, but you don't need to know what's happening inside the body. Oh no, you do, because this guy is responsible for better requests. So you need to have the actual condition where 400 better requests is going to be returned. You also need a condition where 44 is going to be returned, and then you need to know also to return 200. So you need to do this. You don't just write stuff to make your Swagger UI look good. No. Okay, let's go and move on to the next one, the one that show other stuff. So business, we have get for both of them. You can get one. A specific object can also get a list. So let's use this guy as an example. Do we have update or delete? You can have update and delete. There we go. We have update where you update the actual phone number, verify, so it's put. But we don't have delete because I don't allow things to be deleted here. Literally. Okay, cool. Now let's go to business quickly. Business _ v1. So this one is mobile get, where you get all. Like you need the summary that shows only 200, get all, and then the response type, it's a list of get all businesses. It doesn't expect anything. So let's take a look at that. Get all. See that it doesn't show the return type. It just shows you that okay, the response class is going to be 200 because we're expecting it, and then there's going to be the example of what's going to be returned back. Okay, so if I hit try out, what's going to happen? Get all businesses in the system only if they're not deleted and are online. And there we go. It shows all the businesses and their latitude and longitude. This is for mobile application. And this is what you see again on the pin. This guy is responsible to show all those businesses on the pins. Make up the map. This guy, the way it is. I just need the image here. This guy, these pins, they are the actual businesses. So data is coming directly from this endpoint or this API. and it shows that the status is indeed 200. That's it. And then let's do this curricular papers, copy the one that shows up here. Let's do get a 1. What we can do, I can click this to hide it, and here we're getting specific one based on the business number, and then it will show how it will look like the entire object for a specific business. And it's using one-to-many relationship where I can get who owns that business. So as you can see, for something like business number, here it is, string, it expects a business number. You can see that it's required, and then if I try to hit, it's going to say no, it's required. So it's of type string, data type, and then the only thing I'm expecting is 44. So let's do this. It will show 44. It's not going to be found. There we go, 44, and then there's no content for the body, and then it shows that guy that okay, that's it. But what if I remove that small s and hit try out? It returns the entire object, the curricular papers, everything about it, and who owns it. This is the person who owns it. It formats the JSON properly, and then the business hour model will do this on the mobile application, and then the business hour detail, when do they open, and then the prices, you know, they support what for how much, and that's it. So this is Swagger in web. Now I want to do, okay, we are done with this one. I want to launch this one in the meantime. So let's just say right click. So yeah, you can only expect the goodness of out of this YouTube. Wait, I want this. You can only expect the goodness of a high quality content out of this YouTube channel, where I show you stuff, like literally. And then please watch the previous videos in order for this to make sense. How did I end up? Because I did explain what the purpose of this project is all about, everything. Please watch that. So let me close this guy. Okay, Visual Studio, don't hang. Please do not hang. Okay, please do not. Because I'm gonna show you that the intent of what I did here. Oh no. Is it coming? IIS, are you launching the second project? Did you launch it? Not only one. Okay, so because I cracked this guy where I did a 2-in-1 project, so I didn't have to separate that. MVC, you become independent, Web API become independent, but we are taking in .NET Core. So this is how I continue to learn, and this is how I've learned over the years. That, you know, those small things that you read an article, because I'm a fan of Microsoft Docs. I read a lot of Microsoft documentations. You know, documentation for a lot of Microsoft products. So then you would read something, and then I get to now practice that. Okay, at least it's showing something. Okay, let's give it a couple of seconds to a minute, if not more minutes. But I need this guy to wake up. Okay, I think now it's responsive. Okay. Close this guy. Close this guy. I believe it's building behind the scenes. So is it possible for me? No, I cannot. In fact, I want to undo. There we go. Can I save? Can I close it? There we go. Okay, cool. So we are done with this one. Can I go now to this project? Now, how do you register Swagger? I'm waiting. Oh, okay, there we go. Cool. So first and foremost, you need the NuGet package. Now, the way you register normally it will be on startup.cs class. Just to remind somebody how I set up my .NET Core, or how do I do it. I only have one line of code where, to keep it clean and organized. This is a clean architecture where I separate, these guys. Like AutoMapper, you go there, DB installer, I install this, the actual interface, and then the installer extension. This is what I use in here, and MVC, and then Swagger. So now Swagger comes in by default in .NET Core. Okay, so this is basically, implement that interface. Okay, where I say services.add Swagger gen. It knows. And then options, I'm gonna say options. Now Swagger doc, it's gonna be v1. Now it's using Microsoft Open API info. Okay, it comes from this namespace using statement. Okay, and then where I can now set up the title, I can set up the version number. I'm also gonna do I'm still gonna learn how do I do multiple versions. Like I said, contract, I have version 1 and I have a version 2. And then the XML file is where I get the XML file, still using string interpolation, and then the path, and then this is where I say include XML comments. Do you see how simple and how simplified it is now in .NET Core? That's it. Literally. Wait, we need something. So this is where now we just configure the services, but how do we now configure the actual guy? This is where now we get to use Swagger. So even in here, it's not gonna run locally. No, it's gonna run because we are in development. Yes, this is in development. It's gonna run because the environment, it's in development. I'm in development mode, but in production it's not going to run because the if condition is only for development. So we're going to say app use Swagger. Now we are using Swagger, and then we're going to use Swagger UI. Now it needs Swagger and Swagger UI. This is the Swagger UI. And then what do we do there? I'm going to say now the endpoint is this is going to be the address, and then it's going to use the JSON file to get the UI, and then already now give me that as a document. This guy. This is what you see for version 1. Okay, this one is a pretty one. This one is a pretty one, more than this one. This one is an ugly one. But the team did a great job here. So I can also state the multiple definition. That's what I want to learn. What if I want to do version 2? So that's what I'm still going to learn. So this is a pretty one. Even it shows nicely down. The schemas are not necessary. Like for voice message, I have 4 endpoints, and then voice messages for version updates I have 1. Uploads for both v1 and v2 I have only 1. It shows nicely done. The color scheme, it's beautiful. So again, access pin, the same thing. Post credentials in order to authenticate access to the mobile app. How do we know that? Okay, let me close this guy to keep it clean. So we're gonna go to controllers, v1, general, access pin, v1. Remember, this is .NET Core, and .NET Core is different, but I still make use of the comments, Okay, and then now the response type is different to this side. Wait, first we still needed this attribute, and then we still need to point to the URI. The route rather. The attribute is post, and then the route, the same route. As you can see, we're expecting the base, the version number, and the actual route. Okay, and that's what we see here. There we go. And then now I meant to say that .NET Core handles the response type differently. It says produces response type, and then I'm told by default it's application JSON, so there's no way you can configure this. By default it's application JSON. In here we do have an option to do that, where we can choose the parameter content type, but in here by default it comes built in with application JSON. Okay, so let's click that guy. There we go. But you can still choose the response, other request body. And then, yeah, this one is formatted nicely, where they're showing you what's expected. Again, business number, access pin, it's of type string. And then the responses, they're properly formatted, you know. And then 200, that's what we're expecting, 400. Okay, and it will show those errors. And then 404, and then this is it. And then where it shows that we didn't find anything. Okay, and then you just need to click this button, try out, and then you can type in some stuff, again, some weird stuff, and there's a big blue button called execute, and it will spin, it will load, so it should execute for 100. You see, there we go, and it will show the URI and the URL, well, the curl and the URL, you know. And then it shows that, you know, these are the Fluent validations. Again, like I said, stay tuned for that video, next one, where it shows that, okay, this time we got you with 400. Okay, and then let's go to business V1, where we get all of them. Let's see, it's different. You don't have anything else. Shows I'm expecting 200 and 404, and I just hit try out and then execute. It quickly goes to the database in production. Let's give it a few. Okay, there we go, 200. You see the same data, and this time I'm gonna get this one. See, the same data, nicely formatted, nicely done. And you can copy it also or download it. You know, it's great. You can clear this guy, and then you can do it again, and you can cancel this guy. It's fantastic. And then to get a specific business, and then you see now this one you can click. It shows that this is required, but if you hit the button, try it now, you can now type in with incorrect value, and to show that 404 we don't know this person. There we go, error not found. We could not find this guy. But if I remove that D and then hit execute, there we go, it found the entire object. It found the entire object. There we go. So in a nutshell, this is Swagger. I'm excited about this. It's fantastic to test all before you go to a mobile application, because then you know that, oh, okay, on the mobile application this guy is supposed to work. You know that, okay, this guy is gonna work for Android and iOS because you've tested extensively this guy and this guy using Swagger. This is how you become efficient and then flexible. So I just want to do this. Stay tuned for more videos. Please like and share and tell your friends about the goodness of this content. Thank you very much.